This is the end. My only friend, the end. Oh, guys, this is our last Thursday episode of BP Crow's Nest. Why, you may ask? Because Battle Pirates fucking sucks. That's why. That's about the only way I can sum it up. Let me just go down and announce who else on the panel. Of course, as always, we got my partner in crime who's been with me from the beginning and has never failed in his efforts putting forth this quote unquote quality product that we put forward. We got Ross Crow. What's going on, bud?
Good evening, everyone. Well, glad to be here, I guess, for this last Thursday show ever.
Yeah. We got Cuddlefish with us.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, bittersweet time here.
And we found a head in a jar along the side of the road that calls himself Vlad.
What's up, fellers? Yep, sad day in the BP world. We're losing another show. And, but I will say this, you will get to see me live here in just a few minutes. I just walked in the door, so I'm going to bail out for a second and switch from my phone over to my spot on the comfy green couch. So we'll see you guys here in a few minutes.
All right, see you then. So, I don't know. What you guys, Ross, you've been here the longest other than me. I'll let you go and say anything you got to say.
Oh, it's just I've had an enjoyable time with this the Crow's Nest page and the show in general. The public is really, it's been a fun time for me over, I guess, the last 2 years. And the feedback in general from people I just met through the game has really been nice. And so the friendships that I met through the page and the game mean a great deal to me. So for that, I'm very grateful. And that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long, strange, crazy ride we've had. We've had some really good times on the show. We've had some not so good times on the show, but overall, I think we impacted the community for the positive in our time that we did it. It's just, it's gotten to a point myself that I just don't feel like what Kicks Eye is putting forward anymore is a quality product that deserves my time to put into promoting it. It seems like now it's just all about how much money can we squeeze out of the game. Giving us all kinds of things we didn't ask for and saying, well, the community asked for blah, blah, this, blah, like not a single fucking person has asked for any of the shit they fucking did. I mean, they're flat out fucking liars. And I tell them that to their face if they were on here. So... And it's just not worth my time anymore. I'm tired of building fleets that no sooner do I get them done than I have to refit like half of the fucking boat right away. I mean, we got an event pretty much every fucking week that we've always said we want less chores, and then they double down and give us like events almost every fucking week too. Like, what didn't Chris say in his CM diary that like everybody asked for Pillage to stick around? And like, I don't know fucking anybody that asked for Pillage to stick around. Who the fuck wants to do a raid with fucking no half repair time? You fucking idiots.
No, right. I the tasks are overwhelming. The chores are just increasing. And the build times are increasing now too, because the upgrades are actually in build time. They just increased. They're in the dang shipyard. They did it by design. So just by intent, it's intentional to increase these things. I guess I don't know. I had a tinfoil hat. I thought for years saying that, but it does appear that they just are trying to do the monetary part. That's basically the only thing they care about. I mean, it's kind of proven.
I mean, and Golden Doodle, bless his heart, I think he tries to understand what's going on. But, you know, like him and I were talking about this on Discord the other day because, you know, I sent him the message that I posted up to the page and, you know, he engaged with me in conversation a little bit at that point in time. And he's like, well, we've reduced costs, you know, and I'm like, no, actually, you've increased costs. I'm like, you know, because upgrade with upgrades, you like put them way over the top with the constant amount of refits we have to do with all the new tech you bring out. You put way over the top. I'm like, things have gotten far worse than they have better, you know. And of course, at that point, he tried to say, well, you know, that upgrades were not mandatory and things weren't tuned for them. And he kept saying the raids aren't tuned for him. Raids aren't tuned for him. I'm like, dude, it's not just about the fucking raid. I'm like, get your head out of your buttocks. You know, there's more to this game than the fucking raid. When these targets go to the map, when these targets are in TLCs, I'm like, we don't have to wait for the raid to see if the upgrades matter or not. I'm like, we saw it in that last TLC where you used eradicators and strikes. Upgraded hulls were able to make it through the whole TLC without dying. Whereas hulls without the upgrades had to repair at least one full time, if not more. Yeah. I'm like, bro, I ain't gotta fucking wait to know that answer is full of shit. You know? Oh, welcome back, Vlad.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Cuddle, what do you got going on? I know you're not quite as where we're at in the game, but even you have to be like a little bit right now.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot in this game, which of course I am not pleased with. But first, let me talk about this show ending. I always liked this show. You know, though Damnation, your opinion and mine didn't always match up.
Really? I never noticed that.
Hey, but you know, it was always, you know, respectful and friendly, and we were able to get both of our points up across, and I really liked that. And I think that actually helped the community as a large, and the voice, and this leaving is another loss to the community, as information is very difficult to get from Kixeye through forums or Discord or any of those things. And I spend a lot of my time combing those things. Getting information to actual players who play this game is a huge problem. And this show was one of the ways that really helped with that. So, though I do totally understand that. Yeah, there's a lot in this game that I'm upset with. At the moment, raid ships are between 16 and 17 days. If you had all the pieces with, you know, lying in front of you, which the way Kixeye has been putting it out has been difficult. I've had to refit my primary raid fleets multiple times, and I'm still doing this to this very day. I also now think that I count upgrade 2 as part of the build, which adds another 4.4 days to that. So I'm looking at 21 to 22 day raid ships, not counting flagships. That's a titanic build time.
Yeah, and how anybody can possibly conceive that they've shortened the build times, I will never understand, and I will never get. The only thing they have reduced repair or build times on is fucking turrets. And there's, you know, a large part of the community that doesn't even fucking care about that because they don't need PvP. You know,
and also when there's a reduction of that size going from, 11 days per turret down to 1.5 days per turret, yeah, that makes me reach for my highly fancy tinfoil hat and immediately slap it on and wonder where's the hook in this, and wonder whether there's going to be new things coming down the pipe rather rapidly.
Well, like immediately the first thing I thought of was, you know, well, okay, yeah, that's great that you put them down to 1 day and whatever, but is this to replace that normally by this time it would have went down to where we could use base parts to do the turrets? and now you're not even going to let us use base parts to do the turrets for free. You're like, oh, you still have to spend time to do the turrets, but we're going to cut it way down. I mean, that's immediately where my tinfoil hat went.
But we both agree that the moment they reduced it by that much, unannounced, it immediately set off red flags.
Oh yeah, it's tier or level 11 turrets right around the corner. That's what it said to me.
And with this upgrade kit stuff, I have obviously some problems, and I actually liked them when they came out. But there was just such easy things they could do to make them better for the players, such as giving us a place where we could see how many kits we have without going through our dock and all that. The fact that we can't see those still to this day, considering how easy a fix that should be. Oh, and that's easy fix from the position of somebody who has only a vague understanding of what happens inside a computer. I don't know. That could have gotten a lot of goodwill with the community. They just don't seem to be doing things to build goodwill or build bridges back with the community.
Fucking sure they are. You got a goddamn birthday badge. What the fuck more do you want?
That birthday badge could have been done by an intern.
What do you mean could have?
Yeah, I know. And that skin for the flagship looks like I had a flagship and someone defaced it with a spray paint can.
So okay, let me. I'm really confused about the beta badge too, because I know I've been playing for a little bit over 8 years because I got my 8-year badge. But wasn't beta plastered all over this fucking game for like the first 2, if not 3 years that it was public?
Yes.
So anybody who had played during that time when you would log on and it said beta across the top, shouldn't they have gotten a beta badge?
I thought. I mean, unless what was that? That was a display error. Those.
I guess it was a display error for 2 fucking years then.
Right. I mean, I guess that must be the explanation, because I even made it to the level change. I was level 32 before they jumped it to 50. Right. It said beta. I looked back today to make sure I wasn't crazy, and sure enough, beta right across the top. But
yeah, so I don't get that whole deal.
Wow, you just brought back a memory. I was never a level 30 player. I went straight from 29 to 41.
I went from 32 to 50.
I think I went from 33 to 54, which is ironic considering you're like way fucking higher than me now. I did hit an iceberg along the way though, so that's what it is. But so Vlad, what do you got to say about the game and where we're at? Like, isn't the only thing you do now the FM?
I don't know if I usually have got a fleet put together by the second raid so I can do the second and third raid. But yeah, I'm pretty much down to doing just the FMs. I can't be bothered with all the silo targets, and I'm just not going to coin fleets. And if you don't coin fleets, you're pretty much stuck with choosing one to keep up, and then everything else falls by the wayside. And for me, I've been able to keep up on the FMs with old fleets and just sort of meander my way along with trying to keep up with the raid. And that's kind of why I haven't really been given a lot of content either in writing or why I haven't been on the show, is because everybody knows how to do the FM. What am I going to say? The FM, same as it was last week. Thanks for listening.
Well, right now, if you said FM, same as it was last week, you would have been lying for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, that actually the changes in the defense helped me out a little bit. I have 4 icebreaker fleets, and I hit 111s on auto. And I went from being split instant to map instant repair. My icebreakers actually got better. So it saves me a little time. Yip, yip, yahoo. When you're doing, 600,000 points at a time and you need 50 million, takes a while. And that's the other thing. I can't be bothered to drive these targets. There's just no fun left in driving the targets, any of them.
We have to do too many.
Yeah. And remember the good old raids where they had 50 different targets and you had to do one of each?
Yeah.
Now you've got you pick a level and you've got either 2 targets or 3 targets in the level, and you just keep grinding the same targets over and over and over and over and over and over. So, Damnation. I think he was going to say something and he froze.
Yeah. Could be.
Events happen. But yeah, I'm sorry to see the show go because, like Cuttlefish said, it's impossible to dig up information from other sources. You need it took a lot of time back when I was running the show, and it takes even more time now because of the avalanche of content hasn't changed.
Right. And they really don't explain things.
Well, the obfuscation is on purpose.
Right. Because
if everybody can figure it out right away, that limits the coining opportunities. And it is sadly, and there we go, I forgot. It's been as long as I've been on the radio or TV, I forgot to turn off the ringer on my phone. So, it's sad that it has to be that way, but I'm convinced that the obfuscation of where to go and what to do is intentional, and it is just to provide coining opportunity. I've already had to refit my raid fleet, and I haven't used it yet.
Right. No, that's intentional. Right. I mean,
of course it is.
One of the things that really makes me laugh is every time when the CM diaries come out and I'm reading over them. Like, for example, where he starts talking about stabilizing the pressure of PvE, and it says the way that our cycles are currently structured means the first raid of the month has more build pressure associated with it than the remaining months. And April and January, unsurprisingly, we saw this result in quite a bit of negative feedback. That's not anything new. I can tell you that all of their inner circles, the feedback that is always given to them every single first raid of the cycle is, don't forget these. Nobody is going to have a full fucking fleet. These things should not be tuned for it. So acting like, they just came to this mighty revelation is a bunch of fucking hogwash, dude. They've known this for years. They are told this every single raid. So like it makes me laugh whenever I read these things, and just like, this is not new news, guys. We've been telling you this for the whole fucking almost year that you've been part of this team now. It's like we've been telling you and telling you and telling you, and you don't want to fucking listen. That is the biggest downfall of this current team, is they are so filled with hubris and thinking that they know everything and they know what the players want better than what the players do, that they are fucking ruining this goddamn game.
Well, I think you're giving them credit for caring about what the players want. They have a core that they cater to who don't understand the value of money. And one of our previous colleagues in broadcast said this, and it's never been truer before than it is now. $100 a month buys you nothing but headaches. If you are either a along for the ride and they don't care about you, or you're coining $200 a month, and they're catering to the players that are coining $200, $300, $400 a month. I don't know how anybody gets $400 a month enjoyment out of this game. Why could you be better off dropping that and blowing hookers?
No, right? I mean, yeah, you used to really get some fun though out of spending some money. Truly, on a Friday or a weekend, you and your friends, you get a Facebook card and you throw down some money, and you really $10. I'm talking $10. I'm not talking 100 and 100 coins, and you could have some fun. You can't do shit for 100 coins right now. Nothing fun. There's not a fun part in the game for 100 coins.
They've seriously taken this game from the free to play thing, and now it's definitely pay to play.
Yeah.
It's not even pay to succeed. It's pay to play.
Yeah. They've plowed right through pay to win to pay to play. Absolutely. And I just don't. I have a history of talking about boycotts in a negative light. Don't boycott. But if you don't see value, don't spend the coin. If you see value, have fun.
I'll go you one better. I won't tell you to boycott. I'll tell you to fucking quit and go play a different game.
Well, and I've had that.
Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Awesome fucking game. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from the people that heard me talk about it the last show that we did. And quite a few Battle Pirates players have started playing that game at this point, and they say they are really fucking enjoying it.
Well, I've never really been. Always tried to tap dance around the fact I have access to a special group, and I only admit it now because I think Kixeye's abandoned that group. I haven't seen anybody from Kixeye post in there in months. We talk about stuff that's broke, stuff that is broke from a player standpoint that may be their intent, and we get no feedback. They're not listening. They're not even trying to listen.
Well, I think they have actually, and honestly, they changed platforms possibly to Discord.
But they don't. I'm in that group on Discord, and they don't talk to me there either.
Okay, yeah, I don't know because I'm not in any special groups.
Well, and I think it cracks me up too that I know there's a whole different little Discord thing where people talk to Paul Priest, and these are people that don't even fucking play Battle Pirates hardly at all anymore.
Yeah,
all you have to do is if you're friends with them, go to your friends list, look at their base. You can tell they ain't doing shit in Battle Pirates, but yet they seem to be on the Discord all the time saying how the game is great, the game is wonderful, and the game is this, the game is that. It's like, well, obviously you're not fucking playing. Because I can tell that just by looking at your goddamn base.
We can tell that by the fact you think it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
If you think this game is fun, you haven't played in 2 years.
Well, you got something else. Something else is going on. Yeah.
No, go ahead and say it, Ross. Whatever you're gonna say it.
There's a whole. I don't know, man. There's some people having fun still. Apparently, there is some crazy scores going on. You can't tell me that you're gonna really you're gonna throw thousands of dollars of tips to a shit company week after week after week after week after week. I call nonsense. I call nada.
Yeah, I don't think every one of those scores on the global leaderboard when you have an event are legitimate.
I would tend to agree with that. I think it's either one or two things. I think it's either there's a third-party program out there, or number two, it could be that Kixeye is padding certain people's scores to make the competition harder on leaderboard. Because wasn't there something that some alliance just magically and bounty went up to 20 million points out of nowhere? I mean, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the leaderboard, but that's what I heard somebody say.
Yeah, well, my opinion of bounty, so I'm not sure what happened.
Well, were you paying any attention to that, Cuddle?
I didn't I
Go
didn't hear anything about these, about those alliances rocketing up to 20 million in the last bounty. No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Bounty is a PvP event. I scrape by, and I just keep my head down for that event because my PvP ships are terrible.
I just
Rob,
don't.
you're trying to say something?
I just don't. When you're blitzing though, and you're blitzing 500% more than you could possibly spend in point. That's a tip. That's a gratuity. And if you are doing that week after week, you are thinking that this is a gratuity tip. You're giving a gratuity tip, in my opinion, for what? This is has the game gotten better for these players? For them to be, I don't know.
And I still find it fascinating too that like literally that's what got me put in a permanent mute on Discord, is saying that, Chris said something about wanting the game to be challenging at endgame, and I was like, how can you say you want the game to be challenging at endgame when you allow people to just buy fucking points? I'm like, those two things do not exist in the same world. Either you want it to be challenging or you want them to buy it. You can't have them both together.
Well, every time I hear them talk about they want the game to be challenging infers that there's a way to win. And generally speaking, when they say challenging, they're talking about guaranteed damage. And if you get guaranteed damage, there's no challenge to guaranteed damage. It's just it's a player tax. That's all it is. There's no challenge. Oh well, I did it. If guaranteed damage means that you're going to get an hour's damage, and you get an hour's damage, you weren't challenged. You just got what they was par for the course. And I'm convinced that there's a lot of guaranteed damage, and they've said that they want to stop the not be such a big gap between optimum builds and suboptimum builds, and I don't buy that either.
No.
If you don't have everything perfect, you are going to get pummeled.
Well, no, wait. I do agree that there is now going to be less difference between optimal builds and suboptimal builds, because they both get shafted now. They both get shafted always equally hard. So yeah, they succeeded in that. They fucked everybody equally. Good job, Kig's Eye.
And I actually think the gap between the haves and have-nots, or the optimal build and the not optimal build, is actually wider now than it's ever been, due to the addition of the upgrade system.
Oh, dude, it's not a gap. It's the fucking Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And
but they don't understand that, because in their little glass tower fucking internet we are perfect world, they only test with all the best stuff built all the best ways with all the greatest upgrades and say, see, look how little bit of damage I take.
Oh, you mean like the R16 test?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're never. Well, I guess they'll live it down because nobody will.
They won't know.
Everybody who saw that will be gone. But yeah, they're never going to live that down amongst people who actually saw it.
I mean, I've been on tons of those test servers, and pretty much for the most part, nobody, with very few exceptions, nobody was testing anything that wasn't the top end stuff. Nobody was testing the stuff that was, for like the level 60 to 70 players or for the 80 to 90 players. Everybody was like, oh, I got to play with this new hull. I got to figure out what the best build for it is.
They were either playing the S targets or whatever the highest level, whatever they called the highest level below the S targets. I went into those. I've given up on test servers too, because it was pretty clear that they weren't listening to my feedback. Mm-hmm. But I used to go in and I would try targets, and before I upgraded, to legendary, I try them with lower levels of ranking, and it's pretty clear that all of the targets are designed for legendary fleets. If you're not legendary, you're sucking pond water.
Oh, here, I'll tell you a funny story. You know how for like there towards the end of when I was on the test servers, you would log in and it wouldn't keep your name anymore. You would log in and you would be Blackheart. Well, you know, I found it very interesting that when my name was Blackheart and they didn't know who I was, they would listen to what I had to say. But as soon as I would switch my name to my actual game name, suddenly what I had to say wasn't as important anymore.
Yeah.
So don't even try to tell me they don't fucking cater to people and don't play favorites on that shit. Because I proved positive that's a fucking lie.
I always change my name in the test server.
Yeah, but you were easy to figure out.
Well, you could figure me out. I don't know if everybody did. But I would always change my name, and like I said, I would try suboptimum builds, and I would try less than legendary fleets. And like I said, I didn't feel like they were paying attention to the feedback that I had.
Well, I will say this. I've seen your builds, Vlad, and it's not like you were intentionally trying suboptimal builds. You thought they were good.
Stop it. No, actually, I would try builds with less than the current tech with the tech that you might have if you weren't 100% up to date, and then I would try it again with the new stuff.
Running around with like D1 armors and stuff. I remember those days. Nowadays, no, you just have to slap on the biggest, newest armor, period.
Yeah, if you're running suboptimal armor, you're just gonna get chewed alive.
So here, I'm gonna put a little challenge out there for everybody. In the past, 9 months or whatever it is has been since this new team has taken over. What have we seen that was good? What have we seen that we liked?
The transition, the PvP transition from tier 7 to tier 8 hulls was almost painless. I really actually liked that. Our tier 7 ships, like the Witch Doctors, the Revenants, and all of them, overlapped for quite a long time with the tier 8 ships. I thought that was handled pretty well.
And you're talking before they came in and did PvP Refactor Part 2, right?
Sure. I'm talking about when we transitioned from the tier 7 PvP hulls and the breachers started coming out. I thought that whole thing was well done. It lasted quite a long time. Very nice. It didn't, like the breacher didn't come in and just kill all our old PvP ships like I was totally terrified it was going to. There was a nice transition period.
Ross.
Man, I got a hard time with anything that I've said. I don't think that there's been any improvements in the last year in Battle Pirates other than graphics and art.
Oh, now come on! Even I can think of them right off the top of my head. Like
Okay.
Getting rid of sniping chore fleets is a big one.
Well, I didn't get sniped a whole lot. So I think that boy, I don't know.
How about the addition of the button on the prize list, which says hide everything owned?
Yeah, that's good. But no, in all honesty, I think there's really been some huge. I mean, I say that the graphics, right, and that's the only thing that I say, but that's kind of a huge thing. In all honesty, the graphics changed when I was looking back through the year for my beta photo. What a different game, for real. It's just amazing what game looks like now and what it began with. And I'm really impressed, truly, with the art department in the last year. Not every skin or not every ship, but hell, there's so much. I mean, I actually am very pleased with how it is graphically.
I know one thing I really liked, and I was glad to see that it got in. It's something I'd been kind of wondering why we didn't have for a long time. was the recall a fleet from inside your base.
Oh yeah.
To me, that was a big thing.
Yeah, there's some good features. You know, there actually are some great features that they did add.
But unfortunately, and like all the good things that they added were very minor compared to all the bad things that they added. You know, like upgrade kits, in my opinion, being probably first and foremost among the bad things that they added.
I chatted with them about upgrades, and I actually got a response on that. And they are convinced that they had reduced the pressure on the shipyard by too much, and this was intentional to return some of the pressure. They sell it however they want, and of course they sell it. It's completely optional. Well, so's playing the game. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole upgrade thing. And
it's funny they would say that, because they had told me that was the exact same reason why we didn't get as many ship tokens anymore, is because they had reduced the pressure too much and they needed to put more pressure on us, and that's why we saw less ship build tokens. So there wasn't enough pressure, so you had to double down on the amount of pressure. Not even because you made it twice as much then.
And when they say that they took away tokens because they reduced the shipyard pressure, that whole train of thought assumes that somebody's actually trying to build PvP hulls. When we had one shipyard, you got a bunch of tokens, and allegedly the tokens were supposed to keep you up in building both PvP and PvE, but they were general tokens. They hadn't figured out that maybe if they wanted to do that, they should award the Conqueror tokens. So you actually had more tokens to keep up with PvE. And when they gave us the Huggy Yard, they cut a lot of those, and we don't have those that anymore. And that actually did, every time they say that, oh, we cut our pressure to, you didn't cut it. When you gave us the Huggy Yard, you increased pressure, unless you had somebody who was actually trying to keep up with the entire game. And there's not many players now that are trying to keep up with the entire, be 100% current in every phase of the game. You just can't do it unless you don't really value money.
It is not possible to build both raid fleets. That is for sure.
I mean, it just cracks me up, though, when I see them come out and now admit things are not working that we told them like months and months and months ago that they weren't working. And I'll be honest, and I hope, Chris, I hope you're watching this. I put this solely in your fucking lap, because it was your job to take our feedback back to Golden Doodle and tell him truthfully what was going on. And I feel like you failed terribly in that. I feel like you failed terribly in your job. I feel like you are, without a doubt, the worst CM that we have ever had. You don't even.
Oh, no.
Yes. Glad he doesn't even play the fucking game.
But Robot was
no
worse.
clue. He's worse than Robot ever was. Robot was a dick, but at least he knew what we were talking about when we were coming in.
And Doom Rooster would lie right to your face.
Yeah, that's who I meant, Doom Rooster. Doom Rooster, yeah, he was a fucking dick, but at least he knew what we were talking about when we go to him with problems. Chris doesn't play the game. Chris has no idea.
I'm not sure that Chris... even with Doom Rooster, though, at the end, I kind of felt like Doom Rooster was intentionally being difficult. I'm not sure how much of these community managers' jobs it is to actually be a conduit for information, and how much of their job is to lie to us and placate us so that we keep playing when they know that the game designers are going on a tangent. I'm not gonna throw Chris under the bus in the sense
they have no idea what the actual definition of a fucking community manager is then. And I suggest they go fucking look it up.
Well, ultimately, he's a Kixeye employee who makes better money when the company does better, because I'm sure he's on bonus too. So if they tell him a lie about something, and Does he have a choice? I mean, I guess he could quit. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I don't know how much of this is incompetence and how much of it is he's told to lie about something, and his choices are do what he's told or quit. And I'm not going to ask somebody to lose a paycheck. They'll all lose their paycheck soon enough.
I don't know. To me, I guess it would come at some point. My dignity is more important to me than a fucking paycheck.
No, I agree. But if you've got 2 kids at home and they don't care about your dignity, they just care about the Cheerios, I tend to think that...
Well, if my kids don't care about my dignity, then I'm raising my kids wrong.
I tend to think that you're right, but I'm going to give him a portion of the benefit of the doubt, only because if you're told a lie and it's just a game, I mean, it's ultimately nobody is, you're not putting anybody's lives at risk by going out lying. You go out and lie, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I want the job. I don't want to be put in that situation. So I don't know. My knee-jerk reaction is, he's a fucking jerk. But maybe my knee-jerk's wrong.
Ross, you look like you're doing some thinking there, and maybe you want to say something.
My interactions with the game team have been very limited over my time in well, I consider it limited, maybe not limited for just to your average player, but compared to some. But when I've seen a real, the people that I speak to don't actually know about daily gameplay at all. They don't know. I could ask them I just don't know what I mean, but I could mention a whole name, just say, I'm just throwing it out there, for example, mention a whole name and I'm having problems with a whole name and say it's doing something and they're not even going to know that whole. That's the truth. That's the ones that I've talked to over my time period. So there's a huge, I just think there's a great disconnect between what the actual gameplay is and the employees and how they think it is. And because if they're going by these spreadsheets or numbers, and I think I don't know how they could be wrong, but I think some are wrong. I just don't see it, or what they're saying is not correct. One of the two. What they're saying doesn't match.
The thing about spreadsheets is you can make a spreadsheet tell you anything you need it to tell you at any given time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you alter it. Right.
Yeah, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Yeah. So, for me, I really wanted less chores, less repair time. It was pretty simple. Those were my main requests over this long haul, and just with those 2 things alone, boy, I could deal with a lot of crap and I still could, but we don't have those, and that's primarily what the community's really asked for, and all of the community. And when they keep throwing things out that say, well, we've listened to you and we've listened to the community, and this is what we came up with. Like we came up with another garrison hall and another target. Well, you listen to what community? Because this community's been screaming for half repair and shorter build times for years, and that hasn't happened. So I guess, I'm still here though. I'm not going to stop. I'm not stop playing. My gameplay has surely changed because they don't have my interest. They've moved away from me. I didn't move away from them. I'm still here. I'm retired, and so that hasn't changed. It's not going to change. I have a lot of free time, unfortunately, too much. But they are moving away from me. It's not fun for me to sit here and hit the same target over 200 times, 100 times, 200 times. That's ridiculous. And I draw a line at it. I just don't do it. I don't do the silly campaigns. No point. They're not fun as well. I mean, I might move the tech, but it's just not fun.
And Mike in chat just brought up a great thing too. Like the FM, dude, the FM has turned into a total fucking joke. I mean, the FM is almost now at this point like a whole nother raid. You have to get like millions and millions and millions of points. Like literally, and it's just like Mike said, I used to be able to do my FM in like 2 hours or something. And then I'd be down and just repair. I'd go through, I'd get auto enough points to get all my shit, and then I'd be done. But like this last time, dude, try to get all the kits and all the tokens and everything that were there. I was doing the FM up to the last day, and I still didn't get everything.
Right.
Yeah, me too. And then when they changed the FM format, they promised us, oh no, we won't do that. We won't do that. And then by the end of that cycle, we had 50 million.
And how many of us have actually had this graphical error where I don't even know if it's an error, where we've seen 7 tabs in our FM?
Yeah, it's a coming.
It's coming.
It's coming, dude.
The FM prize list does need to be pruned a great deal.
Like, if it was like a glitch or something like that, it would have been like 99 tabs or something like that. Not a specific cutoff at 2 additional tabs.
And those tabs were functional. You could click on them, and it said just no prizes available.
Yep. So I mean, that'll be if people didn't need enough proof that they're full of shit. Wait for it. When those 2 things become active, you'll know for sure that they're full of shit. There will be no denying it at that point.
Well, that's going to be the way that they force us into the new garrison halls. Is if you were trying to do the FM like I do it with an obsolete hall at with a number of obsolete fleets in lower targets, you are just not going to be able to do it because the prices are going to be so high that it won't be practical. It's just like in the raid. Everybody, well, you could do the B sets or you could do the C sets. Like if I wanted to spend every waking moment for 4 days in the chair, maybe.
Right. No, exactly.
You really can't do the raid unless you're capable of doing the S sets or whatever they're calling them this week.
Yeah.
One of their biggest problems is they only listen to half of the feedback. And this new garrison hall is a great example. I was there when this whole conversation, I was actually the person who initiated this conversation whenever they talked about how they were going to, switch over and the FM targets were now going to be the raid things and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And in my capacity that I had at that time, I was talking with them directly. And I was like, this is a fucking terrible idea. I'm like, there's so many people right now who, even after all this time that we've had dragons, are just now finally getting them tuned in to where they can do these things for reasonable damage. And you expect that everybody, your average player included, is going to be able to do that during the course of a raid and plus an extra 3 months that you have in the FM cycle? I'm like, people are never going to get caught up. I'm like, you need to keep it garrison, and this is the part that they didn't listen to. You need to reinstitute the garrison cycle. And then that way we can have those FM targets for a whole year, just like it's always been, and people can have a long time to get their FM fleets to where they need to be. Everybody from your top dollar coiner down to little Joey, who has no fucking clue what he's doing at the beginning of the garrison raid, but 9 months into hitting that same target, he's finally figured it out.
I also think you're overstating the amount of... I have a bunch of players in my alliance who still don't have a full fleet of dragons. We haven't seen dragon tokens in all of 2019, except, for those clever... for cash. But other than that, we haven't seen any dragon tokens this entire year. So I still have players that don't have a full dragon fleet. Terrible.
going back.
And no photos, they are so full of shit when they say this is the way we have to do it. Otherwise, there won't be a game to play because they are still in the top. They're number 18 in the top grossing Facebook games. That's not counting what they're making off other platforms as well. Just on Facebook, they are number 18 in the top grossing Facebook game. So for them to act like they're going to go out of business tomorrow if they don't fucking squeeze every red cent out of you, it's a fucking lie.
You know, they're making huge money still. They really, the numbers are big. Yeah, I Googled it myself.
Well, didn't their most latest project flop again?
Which one?
I don't. Just one of the mobile games that they came with great fanfare, and you haven't heard of it since.
War Commander Rogue Assault?
Is that it?
Well, it's still going from what I know.
But is it generating a profit, or are
I
they
have
counting
no
on
idea.
us to pay for another game?
I don't know.
Another
I don't follow it because I don't play it, so I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't know. And the new one's is still coming. It hasn't been released yet, as far as I know.
And,
Yeah,
and
King of Baker
another-
is released yet.
this whole FM rotating target thing. You know, the only optimized fleet that I have are my icebreakers. My dragons are okay, but they're not 100% optimized, and there just isn't the time to fix raid fleets anymore. You struggle your way through the third raid, and then you move on. So when they say, well, now you'll be able to get them right and use them for 9 months, the fact that I can use a fleet, a substandard fleet for 9 months, really isn't appealing. All you're trying to do is create shit to justify the fact that we have to coin to keep up. And
I think one of the things that was really kind of the final straw for me though was the Inferno Dragon upgrade kits. Because, they did that rebalance and suddenly everybody was having so much problems killing walls and killing the targets and taking much more damage. But then lo and behold, we get these upgrade kits, and what's one of the first things you see? Oh, you get more wall damage out of these upgrades. So basically, I have to spend all this time upgrading my Inferno Dragons for them to be where they were 2 fucking weeks ago or 3 fucking weeks ago before you did all these changes. That's fucking bullshit. That is
like they don't have a history of doing exactly that.
They do.
Oh, you're screwed? Here's the fix, and it only costs. That's an old Kix trick.
But very infrequently did they change the target to where you had to then redo the exact same fleet to get the same performance you were before.
I don't think it was all that rare, but I'll go with you because I can't come up with anything off the top of my head to dispute that.
No, my current favorite upgrades at the moment are the ones for the Proto Apollos. A fleet that has no target for it. It was designed for the titanium wing of the SSRB, which we never got. So, we still don't have it, and now they're giving us upgrades for it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Great.
That is crazy. That Proto series is nuts. And
I never finished any of them.
Well, because they're shit. I mean,
Me either.
They're junk by design. So, yeah.
Well, no photos did just say something in chat that I totally agree with. That the problem we have in this game nowadays is back in the olden times. We used to, as a community, stand together when they would do shit that we didn't like, and we would stand together as a community and push back. But it just seems now there is a group of people that are just willing to take it in the ass every other day. And I don't mean that in a sexual way for the people who like that. I mean in a bad way.
In a financial way, actually. They're actually in a financial way. They're okay with it. So, yeah.
As a quick side note about the Proto series, the Proto Tide Seekers are actually doing really well in pillage and mowing down the 80s. If anybody was crazy enough to build those.
Why would somebody be hitting an 80 in pillage if they have a free bat ray fleet? I mean, that's what I think. I mean,
Why is anybody participating in another raid-like feature? The reason we get a raid every weekend is because people play a raid every weekend.
I haven't hit a single pillage target, and I don't plan on it.
Critical technology, unfortunately, Vlad. I got to get the technology in there for my raid fleets.
What is critical in there?
The multi-lens for the NEM-X, the multi-lens targeting tracking. I need one of those to go onto my flagships. That is critical.
Why is it critical?
Because it gives me my sonar range necessary so I can see the subs farther away in one special, as well as the projectile speed on my flagships will enhance the countermeasure aspect of my flagship.
But all these upgrades,
I only need one of them. That's easy.
All these upgrades and this updated technology is supposed to be optional, so it shouldn't be mandatory. It shouldn't be critical.
Yeah, I think it's critical, but I only need one of them. That's 25,000 over these 4 days. I can do the 80s. If I had Proto Apollos, my Hydras do 63s. I can do that over 4 days, easy peasy, no coins. Or I can use my Bat Ray fleet and hit 5 targets over the next 4 days, and that will get me what I need.
And see, I'm not going to do it out of principle. I'm tired of having raids that are not half repair raids. I'm tired of it. And they could put fucking if you go out and get 1 point, we're going to give you 100 gold, and I still wouldn't go out and hit 1 fucking point. I'm fucking done.
Funny, you used to chastise me over having that opinion about whatever the hell they call that PvP raid that was last weekend. Bounty, yeah. That was my issue with Bounty.
No, and I agree. Everybody's got their point, and we're running out of fun things to keep people here. That's for sure. I'm here still because my friends are here, so not because of the game. It's been a long. I mean, you can tell by the question I answered. I think the graphics is the highlight of the game. So that's how I really feel about the game. I just don't. But I'm still here.
You know, my friends are leaving too.
Yeah, my friends are starting to leave, actually.
I don't have any friends, so.
Well, that makes you immune from the problem.
Pretty much. I'm my own best friend.
But you know, there are some people from my old alliance. Y'all remember Turl, and it finally broke up. There's a couple people left, but most of them are gone.
Right.
Surprising nobody, Alona and I were always next to each other on the map for years. She had her base reaped about 3 months ago, came back, woke her base up, and it just got reaped again last week. So she's not playing anymore. And you know, that was a lot of the reason I was sticking around was because I enjoyed the company of the people who were around me in the game, and we would talk about the game, and we would go on the air and talk about the game, and have, you know, hour-long phone calls, and that shit happens, or not phone calls, hangouts. We'd have private hangouts with just bullshit about the game, and it's been so long since I was in hangouts that I had to put my password back in because it automated logged me out to come in.
Yeah, we used to have like me, Shane, Toxic, RB. We'd get on Hangout for like eight hours to talk about, you know, battle cards and what we were doing and shit during raids. Now we get on the Hangout for hours at a time and we talk about Game of Thrones instead.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But anyway, we're at the 1 hour mark. So this is it, guys. No more Thursday show unless they get their head out of their ass and really turn stuff around. But from my discussion with Golden Doodle yesterday, he seems to think they're going in the right direction. So I'm not seeing anything change anytime soon. But we're still going to continue to have the Saturday show for, the people who are still actively playing that want to come on and voice their concerns and voice their issues in a place where they're not going to get put in a quiet room because they say something that, a Nazi-ass moderator doesn't agree with. So that's still going to be open for you guys to come on and do this. But as far as me spending my time to promote their product, yeah, I ain't fucking doing that no more.
Well, and one of the reasons I jumped in tonight, knowing this was the last Thursday show, and this will likely be the last time y'all see the comfy green couch, because unless they change direction, I can't picture myself bothering to go back on the air again. I'll still be around helping mod with the Crow's Nest page, and I'm an admin on the Bacon page, so I'll be there keeping track of stuff and helping George, but I'm not going to be contributing content anymore. And when they screw up the FM, that's pretty much going to be the end of me. So I hope they figure it out and fix it before they put the last nail in my coffin. But I'm kind of at that point where I'm hanging on by a thread. So for everybody who's watched me over the past 4 years, thank you for the support, and I hope you find another game to enjoy.
Oh, Vlad, you can't leave like that. We need to hear you. We need to hear you say you're disappointed. Come on.
Oh, I'm disappointed with everything in this game right now.
But I will say this. For those of you who have started playing Game of Thrones and are interested in learning more about that, keep an eye out, because there is a possibility there could maybe be a Game of Thrones show on the horizon that we'll be talking about that game and how to get started and how to progress. So keep an eye out for that. There could be some happenings going on there. And there's also Magic the Gathering Arena. That's a great game. Magic the Gathering's been like the number one collectible card game for I don't know how long. It's kind of the one that started them all. It's fucking great. It's owned by Wizards of the Coast, the same people who do Dungeons and Dragons, who in turn is owned by Hasbro, like one of the biggest board game companies out there. So that game has all kinds of fucking money behind it. It's not going anywhere, and they got really good graphics for being a card game, and it's pretty fucking amazing. So
yeah,
check that out.
Big thanks to Wizards of the Coast from way back when, before they got bought out by Hasbro, for creating that game and allowing me to 20 some years later sell a bunch of cards and buy my convertible.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Damn.
And thanks to Damnation for helping me sell those cards.
So cool. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, guys, doing this show for you. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely appreciate all the warm wishes I've gotten for doing it, and all the thanks I've gotten for doing it. And I appreciate you guys. I'm really still to this day surprised how well behaved the people on our page are when you compare it to lots of the other pages that are out there. That part astounds me like every day. So, but thank you guys for supporting us while we were doing this. And like I said, we'll still be around for the Saturday shows, but as far as the Thursday show, yeah, we're done. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And we will see you next time on Saturday. No more on Thursday.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
And I'll put the Hangout link here in chat just for a little bit. Anybody wants to jump on an after show. Peace.